So welcome back to the dimecomicbros podcast. We have 3 members of the revolution today. We are joined by Comrade Colin, who did miss out last week. How are you doing, Comrade?
Good.
If he openly declares himself to be a communist, we take his word for it.
So, Colin, we have money riding on this. What pet did you get to replace the iguana?
So, I've had my experience with scaly animals,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought I'd go for some soft little guys, some little boys, some little penis boys.
You got a tarantula.
I got a ferret.
What?
Nice.
Yeah, he's a little string bean.
Nice.
I
Does he scream a lot?
He goes,
do you walk him often? Put him on the leash, take him outside?
No, I got like a little harness for him, and he kind of just like goes, around,
right?
Like that banjo plays and everything.
They make such weird noises.
Yeah, they do.
So, do you have to like pick him up and carry him home on your shoulder?
So what I do is I grab the leash, I pick him up, and I start swinging him around on the leash.
Yikes.
And then I throw him up in the air and he plops onto my head.
You have enough curly hair on your head. He probably does think it's his like little nest.
Oh, he's got one in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't wash my hair anymore.
Oh, do you like keep him in your hair under your hat like Radagast?
No, but
Not Radagast, but the chef from Ratatouille.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Is there a ferret in your hair right now? No, we're good. We're good.
No, we're
He's
good.
not controlling your actions.
No. He just like hangs out there when I'm pooping.
Buy a comic that might cost more than a dime. Come meet the brothers who are here to waste your time.
Welcome back to Dime Comic Bros Podcast. We have Comrade Colin with us, but also we have Comrade Spencer and Comrade Jacob.
Yes, comrade.
Yes, Comrade.
What?
What is in the comic news this week?
From comicbook.com, reports from Japan have confirmed the worst for Berserk fans, as the manga's creator has passed away. The artist is said to have passed away on May 6th after suffering from a cardiac event. The news was made public after the family said their goodbyes to Miura, and Berserk's official Twitter page shared the loss with fans. As you can imagine, Berserk fans are mourning the tragic death, as Miura was a masterful artist with untold potential at his fingertips. It is difficult to overstate how influential Miura was in all areas of pop culture, and his death weighs heavily with the netizens the world around. This actually kind of hit me a little hard when I found out. It was like, I think May 30th I found out, and I didn't think it was real at the time, and I don't really care for, not to say I don't care about like artist death or stuff like that, but like it's never, since I didn't know them, it didn't weigh as much on me. But with being a new Berserk fan, like freshly new, watching the movies and just starting to collect the manga, it was quite, it's difficult to describe, but I feel for him I feel for his family and the other collectors, the manga collectors and such, because the story wasn't finished and it's been around since the 80s, and this was a huge influence to like Dark Souls. Like it was a huge influence for Dark Souls with like the sword, just the way that the world worked, and other what's like aura, the atmosphere of the game, and a bunch of other influences in comics and such. So we might not get an ending for the manga, but that's all right. He did what he liked, he did what he loved, and that's really what matters. So rest in peace, Kentaro Miura.
So moving on to slightly more positive news, we have the first teaser trailer for Marvel's Eternals. I'll open up and say what a lot of people are already saying anyway. Visually, it looks way more interesting. It looks to have a lot more scope and scale. Wow. And I understand why Kevin Feige was like, guys, we got to shoot on location a lot, because the visuals look insanely more location heavy instead of being a bunch of fake like landscape shots.
So, I know I got a hot take on this one.
Oh boy.
This looks like something you two are going to appreciate way more than me.
Why?
It
Wrong.
looks like it's trying to win awards, even though it's an action or it's a superhero movie. It looks like it's I don't know. It has a different feel, which is fine. Superhero movies can have different feelings from other superhero movies and not just be popcorn action flicks. But like it looks like it's trying a lot of different things. It looks like it has a dance sequence or musical or something. It looks like it's gonna be more drama heavy and thinking and a lot of slow pace to it. It looks like it's going to be pulling on heartstrings more, and it just looks like it's way more up your alley than mine. Like I just got it's fine from it, but I think Spencer's like way more excited after seeing the trailer than I am.
Colin, why do you sound like you hate it already?
Nothing is interesting about it to me. It looks boring.
I can second that. It looks boring.
Meh.
I was trying to be nice about it
There's
and have
no flavor.
and have reasons for it, but I agree. It looks
I don't
boring.
care. I don't need reasons. I don't really care for it right now, but watch me. Watch it when it comes out. I'm
Right.
like, oh my gosh!
Right?
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Yep.
I don't care for it right now. Get out of here.
What?
News?
Oh,
yeah.
I thought you were gonna add more thoughts on that.
No.
Jacob, you're wrong!
No. Colin's just, I don't like it. It's like, okay.
Okay. From therap.com, rap with a W, WRAP.com. Sorry, I should say the WRAP.com. Aaron Taylor Johnson has nabbed the lead role as Kraven the Hunter in Sony's Marvel film, the studio announced on Wednesday. The studio also locked in the actor for multiple pictures as the iconic Spider-Man villain. J.C. Chander is directing Kraven the Hunter. The project is being billed as the next chapter of Sony's universe of Marvel licensed characters. Art Markham and Matt Holloway and Richard Wenk wrote the screenplay, while Avi Arad and Matt Tolmach are producing. Kraven the Hunter will be released on January 13th of 2023.
Isn't this actor for Kraven, wasn't he Quicksilver? Is this the same guy?
Yeah, he played Quicksilver in Age of Ultron.
So, in what universe is Kraven?
This is in the
Sony universe.
Spider-Man.
Venom.
So are we getting a new Sony Spider-Man then?
We don't know what's going on.
Because
It's
that would be nice.
Morbius and Venom
Venom.
2 are somehow apparently tying into Spider-Man 3, and they're gonna explain in some way, shape, matter, or form why these two things are connected but separate. So essentially, Marvel can be happy and Sony can be happy, even though Sony can go for themselves.
They're gonna retire Holland and say he's lost to the multiverses and introduce a different Spider-Man. I'm calling it right now.
No.
That's definitely never gonna happen. See, honestly, I have I know it sounds really weird. I kind of wish that they would retrofit these Spunk universe characters. Like, these feel like they'd fit with the TASM movies, honestly. Like, yes, they weren't great or anything. But if they, like, Venom feels like it would
Venom
fit
does
in.
feel like he would fit that universe.
Like,
Yep.
it just feels like that would work better, because I'm pretty sure most people, even the people who liked Venom and are interested in what they're doing, these don't feel like they gel with the MCU on either like a tonal or like a quality level. And this is just kind of weird. So the casting is a complete coincidence. It's not they're planting seeds of anything. It's just, this is Sony's Spider-Man universe that also will be using Tom Holland, except he hasn't appeared in it yet. and also Tom Holland, the same Spider-Man, appears in the MCU. We don't know what the they're doing. Nobody knows.
You say we. Do you mean they don't know what they're doing?
Probably.
And this is why I don't care for like any Marvel anything right now, except for obviously WandaVision and Multiverse. Kind of.
I mean, this is gonna end up 99% being multiverse stuff.
But I don't want this kind of multiverse shit.
I agree. We've definitely dissected that to death. But in terms of the actual casting, I think it's fine. I like Aaron Taylor Johnson. I have no qualms with this. I'm impressed they're actually moving forward with this bloody movie.
From DCComics.com, the GCPD discover a mysterious corpse, a magical box, and a murderer's row of the city's most dangerous villains sitting in a jail cell. Now all they need to figure out is what exactly happened. Unfortunately, one suspect is willing to talk. Unfortunately, it's the Joker, and he's holding all the cards. Wow, what a surprise.
Terrible pun.
Launching on August 3rd with a debut issue by Matthew Rosenberg, Jesus Marino, Joshua Hickson, and Ulysses Ariello. Over the course of 7 installments of The Joker Presents a Puzzle Box, the Joker introduces seemingly unconnected stories of his fellow inmates. As the series progresses, it becomes apparent that each tale is actually a piece of the Joker's larger plan.
So, I think I've expressed a bit of Joker fatigue lately, but the different format of this series seems to kind of tickle my fancy. It's like a metagame type deal.
It might be good.
We'll see.
Honestly, I don't care if it's good or not. If it's good, cool. If not, I'm I guess I agree with you. I'm kind of sick of Joker.
I like how for months Spencer's been saying people are sick of Joker, and as soon as they bring him back, he's like, "Yeah, I'm interested." Never gonna give you up. Like, I'm ready to wait and see if it's good or not.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Prove to me that you're good enough for me to pay attention, and then I will.
I want some good stories of different Batman villains.
Yep.
Yes. Last bit of news. Jeremy Irving has announced his casting as Alan Scott, the first Earth-based Green Lantern in DC's upcoming Green Lantern Corps series. Cool. I'm glad we're getting
Green
more...
Lantern stuff?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm still...
Give us the magic boy.
I'm still very, I wouldn't say nervous exactly. Somewhat hesitant because we don't really know where this series is going. Is it standalone? Is it tied in with this? Is it tied in with that? The usual stuff that really shouldn't be that exciting or whatever. But at this point, it kind of matters. Sadly, what things are tied to like dictates your interest or whatever. But I for myself, that's kind of the determining factor on whether or not I'm going to watch this show. Which sucks because the cast so far seems to be very good.
So this week we are talking about Spider-Man Noir, Twilight, and Babylon, which is the third, sort of, Spider-Man Noir book. And I say sort of because the first two were like, bam, bam, and then this third one came out many, many years later, and they're like trying to do the noir thing again.
Yeah, originally, this was announced to be a mini-series, but it's actually an ongoing. So by the time we had decided to do it as a topic, they chose to continue the series. So
Typical.
Yeah. So Spider-Man Noir 2020, this collects issues 1 through 5. It was obviously published in 2020, written by Margaret Stohl, I believe is how you say her name, and it is penciled by Juan Ferreyra.
Well, it's kind of a long story.
Dateline, 1939. As the specter of war looms on the horizon, a very noir Spider-Man fights the good fight at home. But when there's a murder at the Black Cat nightclub and all clues point overseas, Spidey will have no choice but to board the next flight to Europe. After months of searching, the Nazis have discovered an ancient evil in a dig site on the other side of the world. And scrappy young reporter Peter Parker soon finds himself torn from his friendly neighborhood and thrust into the international action. Unsure who he can trust, the rookie gumshoe must embark on a globe-trotting adventure, encountering friend and foe alike, some of whom readers may find disturbingly familiar.
Oh, yeah!
So Jacob originally read this and talked about it a few months ago,
I
and
did.
then really wanted to talk about it as a topic. So Jacob, why don't you give us a little bit of a run-through?
Okay, so first of all, it feels like Indiana Jones, but Spider-Man. Because there's treasure, there's cloak and dagger stuff, there's betrayals and backstabs, and damn Nazis that get punched in the face, and it's simple. But it's an adventure story, and it's fun, and it looks good. Can I talk about how good it looks? It looks so good. I really hope Colin backs me up on this, because the different places have their own color scheme, and it's a little bit simple, but like the one that stands out the most is when they go to Istanbul, and it's like the sun is setting, and there's whites, there's blacks, there's reds, and it's simple, and it's freaking gorgeous. I love this book.
I would have to agree with you on that. Sometimes there's sometimes the faces can be a little rough, but beyond that, the art style is something else. The action is really dynamic. The colors are absolutely vibrant when it chooses to have colors. The contrast between the different settings, like you said, is definitely, I think, one of the stronger suits of the art. And it doesn't mesh with the other two previous books, and I think it works well for this story instead of trying to adhere to something previously set by another artist.
So there's not actually that many differences in the settings. I didn't really find it. I mean, I see that, but it's all the same colors. It's the same entire color palette. They just switched where they would project the colors.
I mean, back home, it's mostly in shadow.
Yeah.
And then, so maybe it's just a day-night thing.
The color
You're probably
palette
right.
is the same, but the choices for which color is primary and secondary is switched around.
Yes. Yeah, but well, I mean, I'm not trying to say it's bad. I'm just saying that it's the same color palette all around, which is cool. I like that. It's consistent with that. The art's not terrible. I mean, I don't think it's amazing, but it's not like, but it doesn't catch my eye. So it's cool. It's all right.
I think it's also made to look like an old school noirish movie too.
Yeah, and I don't mind that. I can appreciate that, but I think it also tries to do like that timeline of like pinup art. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like it's not
I really
the
liked
pinup.
that.
It's not like what's in pinup art, but
Right.
the art style of pinups.
Right.
Yes.
Which I appreciate that. I don't find it like amazing. It's cool. I'm not really much of a vintage guy anymore, so like, art's it's art.
I think the way to describe the noir setting and how, because I think we all agreed that the previous two books were very noir heavy at the same time, but they lean into very different aspects. This feels like, if I'm going to go like film terminology, this feels like actual noir, like
Yes,
from
I do appreciate that.
like original noir, whereas it is the impression of being dark and moody, but when you look at it in retrospect, it's more so than its contemporaries, but like it's not really that dark and gritty. Like it still has a tone of fun. It's a nice action romp, versus the other two books are more like neo-noir, like modern noir movies, whereas it's really leaning into the noir aesthetic and the actual dark, like it just feels they lean into the same vague like genre, but at different areas of like its evolution. If we're gonna switch it up to like film noir type language, because that's obviously, duh.
Yeah.
So Jacob, what is it about this story, aside from feeling like Indiana Jones, that you liked so much more than the other ones? Because you seem to like this book way more.
I don't know. It's just, it's an adventure romp. It's lighthearted, but it still tells a great story that's fun and funny and interesting and twisty. There's backstabs. It's just, it hits all the points. Whereas the second Spider-Man Noir book was really, really dark and gory and violent and was trying to make a point about life and good and bad and evil and whatever. Whereas this is just, there's a bad guy stealing a thing. Nazis is bad. Punch them. Yeah.
I like how they had Iron Man in this.
Yeah.
I really liked how they portrayed Iron Man. I love his little
Owns a speakeasy.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I appreciate this
It
panel.
makes complete sense. Also, that panel. Oh yeah.
That's a nice back.
That panel is really cool because the action does like an S curve through over 2 different pages, and it shows like the whole building, but the characters are moving through it. Ugh.
I like that a lot. I wouldn't say I like that a lot. I liked it. I thought it was really cool. I don't really like it too much when comics do that in that fashion. I don't know why I don't, but I just don't. I like traditional, like, regular panels, you know?
I think once is good. It breaks up the monotony of the book.
Yeah. I can agree with you on
It gives you something interesting to look at. What else is... I don't know. There's just so many small details that, like, increase this book a couple percent. And it's just so many small details that it's like, by the end, it's added up to be a large amount that just makes this book so good.
So on the note of Iron Man being included, or Tony Stark, I really liked the inclusion of Shocker. One of the things I've really liked about the Noir universe, this Earth, is how it portrays Spider-Man's villains. They're very different. And they have very strange interpretations. Like, the Vulture was a cannibal, Green Goblin was weird goblin man who wore human skin. And, like, this Shocker just makes sense with, like, the Nazi aesthetic. Like, he's just got mad scientist stuff strapped on his back, and he's like, yeah, I got these rods. They do electricity, and I poke you, and I whack you. Like, I don't know. It's fun. It's very different than a lot of other Electro interpretations I've seen.
It's the Nazis. It's always the Nazis.
Yes. That was really cool. And then I liked the twist to make what is essentially Dr. Octopus. Like the at the end, and how that formed into this weird cobbled together version of the Sinister Six. I thought that was a really cool finale idea, with like all of the resurrected, zombified versions of the previous villains. I just thought that worked really well.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't really care for Spider-Man Noir. Like, I understand the appeal, but there's something about it I just don't really care too much. Like, I see that it's like Indiana Jones mixed with Spider-Man, but like I like the two separate. But also maybe it's just that I'm so zonked out of Spider-Man because I went through such a Spider-Man like phase.
You did have a very strong Spider-Man phase.
Yeah, like really
16-ish.
Yes.
That kind of sucks because this is the most Spider-Man I've read. Like, I haven't read Spider-Man outside of the show.
I read a lot of Spider-Man and watched a lot of Spider-Man over and over and over and over because I was obsessed with it, like how I was about Batman. That's why I'm kind of like bored of both of them. So that's why I go to basically random stories now.
And we
shit, yeah, because it's like
definitely
because it's not like the same story all the time.
Unless
That's
it's Dragon Ball.
funny.
Well, it's really not.
You said Dragon Ball is the same thing over and over and over and over again.
No.
What he hasn't been watching Dragon Ball.
No. What I mean is that it's not like American stories where they will just reboot everything unless it's Dragon Ball Z. It's mainly finished stories. The good ones, anyways.
Right.
Oh, and then there's one good one that's not really a finished story, which is Berserk.
So this is 5 issues. I would say that it's probably a 2-seater. It's good to split this one up into 2 different readings. Otherwise, it gets a little bit monotonous. It looks kind of the same and a little bit dragged out, but that's not that's not complaining about the story. That's just to keep the 7-year-old monkey brain inside my head happy is to just give it a rest, break it up into 2 sittings.
Yeah, no, I can definitely agree with that. I did read it in 2 sittings, and I thought that helped a lot.
Yes.
So overall, this book is retailed for $16.
Worth
What-
it.
So just flat out worth it.
Yep, I would say
not
worth
buy
it.
it.
Whoa, why?
Don't care for it.
Bro, he said like nothing really positive. He's just like, eh.
Yeah, but
It
that's
couldn't- it's not
because
shit.
he admitted he's burnt out on Spider-Man. When you're not burnt out on Spider-Man, and you
think
want to read a Spider-Man book,
I would not buy it.
why?
Because I don't care for it. But it's reasonable. It's reasonably priced.
If there was somebody at work that said, hey, I heard that you run a comic book podcast and I'm really interested in reading a Spider-Man book, would you give this as a possible book to read?
Not for a first one.
I wouldn't either.
I didn't say first.
But he said they're interested in reading some
Okay,
Spider-Man.
so when you give him freaking top 5, is it going to make the list?
No.
Oh,
Why?
definitely not.
No.
I like it quite a lot. That's not. There's a lot of
It's just
much
you should,
better Spider-Man
if you're
stories.
introduced to Spider-Man, or like you know what Spider-Man is, but like you want to be introduced to comics Spider-Man, this is not something that you should go to.
No.
first.
That seems crazy to me
I think,
because
you know,
this was my third
it-
Spider-Man book that I ever read.
It's not like a. There's
know-
too much to get caught up on. It's just not the most.
It's not Spider-Man, really.
No. Strong
That's-
disagree on
That's
that.
how I feel. It doesn't
Can I
feel like...
finish my fucking sentence?
No, you cannot finish your fucking sentence.
It's not really a great introduction to that because it is a lot more focused on the spinning together of the genre and the character than it is being focused on the character. I think particularly when you get to the last issue, it does understand the character well, but it's not the best way to exemplify that to someone who has little to no familiarity with it.
Especially with like how the story is quite different from how Spider-Man actually gets his stuff. Because Spider-Man's very sciencey, and this is very like...
Magic.
Yeah, which is cool, because I love magic, but like, it's just not at the core really.
I think this is.
Spider-Man's center, I guess. I don't know how to phrase what I'm trying to say.
I think Colin's kind of onto something. It's not because it doesn't get it. It's just this is not made for new people. So, moving on to Star Wars Bad Batch Episode 5. Jacob, do you want to give a summary of this episode?
I was going to give you shit for calling me out again, but Colin said he didn't watch this. No, I don't, because I watched it and I didn't look at my phone the whole time. I looked at the TV the whole time and it ended and I said, what was that about?
Oh my god.
I'll remember when you talk about it, though.
So this episode has the Bad Batch need to figure out who this bounty hunter is that is currently trying to kidnap / pick up the bounty on Omega.
I remember now.
So they go to Sid, who's a character on Planet that I do not remember the name of. And they are, hey, they're an informant from, used to work with the Jedi. Can you get us some information? We'll do you a favor. So they go on a mission to rescue a person for a client of Sid's, and it turns out it's a baby Rancor. And then they do some punchy punch. They get the Rancor back. We get a little cameo from Bib Fortuna from Jabba's palace, and they get the information they want. That's really it. It was fairly straightforward.
Yeah. Yeah, I remembered as soon as you said they were trying to get information. I was like, oh, yeah, they had to do the whole tit for tat thing, and
Yeah.
yeah. Quid pro quo,
Yes.
as the Latins like to say.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought that Sid was actually a really cool character. Not like super interesting, but it felt like the mixture of animation with the really good voice acting and the role that she plays in the plot was pretty cool. I feel like she might become a somewhat recurring character.
It felt typical of younger audiences' television.
Yeah.
That they had a convenient plot point that was used 3 minutes later in the episode. So, again, this is made for children. I really can't complain about it, but still, it's there.
Yeah, I really liked how well Omega played with the team. That was something that kind of stood out when I was watching it. Was she took instruction well. She communicated well, like non-verbally with everybody else, and saved their asses. But it didn't feel like kid just magically knows what to do. I thought that was balanced pretty well.
Yep.
Um,
They made facial signs and had a full blown conversation, just like Colin and I are having right now.
I thought that the Rancor twist was kind of cool. They thought they were looking for like a little girl, and then it turns out it's this baby Rancor. That was pretty cool. It was goofy, but like who cares?
I don't really have too much more to add. It was very straightforward. It's been pretty straightforward the last couple of episodes, so maybe we're seeing a pattern.
Maybe everything's interlinked.
Interlinked.
Mephisto confirmed.
Mephisto confirmed.
We've been tricked, we've been backstabbed, and we've been quite possibly bamboozled.
Colin, because you did not watch some of the required material for this week, what have you been up to? What have you been spending your time on?
Let's see. I did finish the 4th book of Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Nice.
Holy crap, wait, hold the phone. Last I knew you were on book 1.
Wrong.
Oh yeah. That's
Really?
yes.
Oh, because I haven't talked about it. I didn't talk about the last 2 books because they're equally the same as the manga or the anime, because manga came after the anime.
Okay.
Except for some stylistic choices, like how they introduced Ava 02, which is one of the basically Gundam robot dudes. How they introduced him, they were on the ship going through the ocean, and they found Angel in the ocean, and the Ava was on one of the ships and was activated to fight one of the angels, and when it was before it was activated, it was covered in tarp, and when it was activated, it woke up and the tarp like surrounded it like it was a cloak, because it just got stuck on it, so it looked like a cloak, and it was pretty cool, which was added into the movies afterwards, but not much was really different. Even in the 4th book I read, not much different. How it was told, though, was better, because a lot of things were left unsaid in the anime when it was shown, like how these 2 characters, I can never remember this guy's name because I don't like him. I can't remember his name, but it was like this. He was basically one of the angels, but he looked like a human, and they used him as like a plot device where it was like foreshadowing what angels actually were, which they're like an evolutionary, like they're like the peak evolution of mankind. Like it does that in the story. So I finished that today, actually, and I'm going to go on to the final book very soon. It's hard to talk about it. I have a hard time talking about these things because it's huge spoilers, especially if we're going to have this as a topic. Not the manga, but like the anime and such. Really good books. If you really like Gundam stuff, you should read them.
What is Gundam?
A Gundam is basically a giant robot that has human controlling it. Like Power Rangers?
Okay, so
Remember
like
when they all-
Pacific Rim
Yep,
or
Gundam.
Titanfall.
Gundam.
Okay.
Yep. Spencer,
Yes.
what have you been consuming?
So I got to read Shazam and the 7 Magic Lands, which is the first 12 issues of the 2018 Shazam ongoing series, written by Jeff Johns and illustrated by Dale Eaglesham, Scott Collins, and a couple of other people. Each one of the issues would like alternate artist. So this is a sequel to the Shazam mini-series thing that was started in the New 52, also by Jeff Johns, that I mentioned previously. That was like shoved in the back end of all the Justice League issues. So this is a direct sequel to that. It takes place, I think, it's like 6 months later. So it's the Shazam-ally floating around in the Fortress of Solitude. They find an abandoned train station with a bunch of different doors and a map to these 7 magic lands. So they go on an adventure trying to, they're just kids exploring. They run into this person called King Candy. Or the King Kid. I don't even remember. he's just this snobby little kid who's like king of all this kingdom. It's like a carnival basically.
Mhm.
It's all kids. He hates adults. He throws adults in his dungeon, so they run like the whole realm basically. So the kids all get split up. Some of them get shoved into different magical lands. Some of them lose their powers temporarily.
So
There's like a gaming dimension, which was pretty cool, like stuff like that. And then the B plot is Dr. Savannah and Mr. Mind, essentially looking for more magic as normal. They clash with Black Adam. Black Adam joins them temporarily. Billy's dad shows up for a little bit. I can't get into that because it's a pretty big spoiler. So Dr. Mind is looking for Mr. Mind, is looking for more power. He wants to rule all the dimensions. He's a little talking worm. He just likes power. It's pretty normal Shazam stuff. So he teams up. They try to bring in all these the monster societies. There's a bunch of different creatures from all the dimensions. They do a lot of punching. There's some more mythology behind the wizards and the Rock of Eternity. Did I say Fortress of Solitude earlier?
Yep.
I meant Rock of Eternity. I'm stupid. So overall, the art was really excellent. All of the artists meshed together very well. The realms were displayed very, very differently. There's a different art style for like the Realm of the Dead. I don't remember the actual name. I read this almost 2 weeks ago. So there's nice, vibrant contrast. It's a really good sequel story to that other book. The characters are written almost exactly identically. It follows up real nice. There is a character, I won't spoil who it is, that shows up kind of out of nowhere in the last few issues and then just kind of goes away, and I thought that was really dumb. It was neat to see said character for a little bit, but when I went on Wikipedia to try to figure out how that tied into other things, it just felt like an obligatory tie-in to just other like major DC events going on, like death metal and stuff, and it was just a lot. That was kind of annoying. So I felt like it like pulled away some of the dramatic weight of what the actual story was doing. Beyond that, nice, well self-contained story. It's fun. It's Shazam. I don't know. This is about it. I enjoyed it. Jacob, what you been up to?
So, I read Captain America To Serve and Protect by Mark Ward, published by Ron Garney. Collects issues 1 through 7 of the 1998 run. The story starts right after the events of Onslaught Marvel Universe, which I meant to research in Wikipedia, find and file, and I didn't do any of that. So I have no idea what this event was. But during that event, allegedly, as far as issue number 1 starts, Captain America died and was reported dead. He was dead and not there anymore.
Sounds pretty based to me.
He was dead.
Dying is very based.
Very based.
Very first issue of the 1998 Captain America run, though, Captain America is not dead.
Whoa.
Shocker. I
Red
know.
pilled.
Right. He's not dead no more. So this 7-issue run inside of the book, I don't think the whole run was only 7 issues, but these 7 issues is about Cap being popular. And he's trying to decide and understand how to balance being a symbol and not be a celebrity. He doesn't like all of the attention, but he's like, but I'm a symbol of hope and of freedom and America and stuff. So I have to be a public figure. I can't like go into the shadows and be like Batman, basically. But the logo has to be there. The symbol has to be there. But I don't want to be a celebrity. I don't want people worshiping me as Captain America. They have to have the symbol of hope, who is Captain America. There are a lot of guest stars. Hawkeye, Thor, Iron Man, Scarlet Witch, the Fantastic Four, all in the first 7 issues of this run. So the, I guess, angst of Captain America trying to be a symbol was pretty well done, I think. I understood his conflict and he works through it pretty well. My only complaint really with this book is that the last issue was so poorly handled for artwork. So I'm guessing, but I'm going to call it an educated guess. My hypothesis is that this was digitized or recolored or something. It was touched up from the original because the first 6 looked really, really good, but issue 7 looked like crap. It was blocky. It was just, it was so ugly. Like, it looked like somebody played with freaking Microsoft Paint for 5 minutes to recolor this.
So yummy.
It was so bad. It looked like your YouTube video when you're like on the and the Wi-Fi craps out on you and it suddenly drops from 1080p to 240p.
Oof.
That's what this looked like.
Yee.
It
That's
was
a lot less P.
so bad.
Much less P.
Much less P.
It would have been a great story. It would have been a great book if the last impression wasn't so bad. If they had taken some more time and actually fixed up the artwork instead of like, I want to say half-ass job. It was more like a quarter-ass job.
Ooh.
It was bad. If it wasn't for that, this book would have been great. The story was pretty well self-contained, except for Cap being dead from Onslaught, whatever the frick. It usually costs $25. I got it for 10, and I'm pretty happy. But definitely requires finding it on sale because of that last issue. That's how mad I am about this artwork.
Big oof. Colin Man.
I would
Ask me a question.
like to roll with the same question I got last week
Oh.
because I wasn't ready for it.
Okay.
This isn't gonna go well.
Okay.
I don't care. I'm going head first.
Yeah, go for it.
What are I'll say what's your favorite? And if you don't have a favorite, what are some of your top favorite Spider-Man uniforms, outfits,
Oh.
From any medium.
anything? Books, games, movies.
So we've got the. This is difficult.
I know. I wasn't
So-
ready for it when he
so
dropped it on me.
I'll
I
drop
think-
something else on you.
Tom Holland's is on there.
Which one?
The black and red one.
Oh
The
yeah.
newest one. The newest Tom Holland.
Dude, that thing
Alright.
is sexy.
That one's a good one. Let's see. Oh, this is difficult actually. I remember I had a list before when I
Wow.
was obsessed with Spider-Man. 2099.
Nice.
Okay. All right.
2099.
Yep.
Real
New Tom
edgy.
Holland. And Miles Morales actually.
The comic or the Into the Spider-Verse one?
Or the video game.
That one's almost identical.
Is it really?
It's very similar.
I
to the
really
comics. It's
like
kind of in the middle.
the Into Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse.
Dude,
Alright.
that one is so good.
Yeah,
It
so
is.
That version of Miles Morales, period, is such
that
a
movie is so
strong-
good. I rewatch it every now and then.
Right?
See,
Spider-Man
that's why I'm
movie.
not sick of Spider-Man. It's when I'm watching that.
Yep. Freaking
I don't know
based
what it
in red
is.
pilled.
I don't know what it is. This
Red
movie's
and
just
blue
so
pilled.
good. The colors are amazing. It's so good.
Into
we
the
need to do
Spider-Verse
that
is
as a
the best.
topic.
Yeah, that should be a topic. Spencer,
Yeah.
what have you been consuming, my big man?
I read the Joker 80th anniversary 100-page super spectacular. So every time a character from DC has an 80th anniversary, they make, this super 100-page super spectacular thing. It's just it's a collection of short stories based on the character from some of the most well-known and well-acclaimed artist and writer teams. So this one has, I think, like 8 separate stories in it. They're just little one-shots. The only one that connects to anything of note is the origin story of Punchline, who's the one of the newest characters in the mainline Batman run, who is Joker's newest henchwoman, basically. Her her origin story is in this, but beyond that, it's just some little short stories. We have Joker putting together a birthday party for a kid because he noticed the kid's a sociopath and has no friends, and he's like, "No, I'm gonna force these people at gunpoint to make you a party." Got that.
Based.
We've got Joker having nightmares and being having shit kicked out of him by Batman a lot. There's one which was kind of like a One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest parody where it was Batman and Joker in Arkham. It was really weird. That one was done by Lieber Mayhew, actually, but it wasn't in his ultra realistic style. It was like a cartoony version of it. I thought that one was really cool. On the whole, so it's written by Scott Snyder, Paul Dini, Tom Taylor, a few other people. Illustrations by basically everyone that's touched Batman in the past 10 years. Really good stuff for the most part. Some of the stories were very meh. It's just, Joker does crazy stuff, which is fine. There's just nothing really more to it. Some of them were just really cool. They got down to the core of the character in a short amount of time, particularly without a lot of Batman usage, which is always nice. And then the standout being Punchline's origin, which is really cool. I won't get into it because that's a pretty modern thing that you guys should read. So that was definitely the standout of the whole thing. On the whole, it's not a very cohesive book. It's not meant to be. It is published in a hardcover, and also you can buy it in its original large issue, those mini paperback type deals.
Right.
They look like a paperback. They're never called a paperback. So it was originally published for $9.99. That's the version I bought it in because it fits with the other books nicer than having the hardcover version. I think it's worth the $10 for sure. It's a nice read. You could read half of it while you're crapping. It's not very large, obviously. It's 100-page super spectacular.
That depends on the crapper, basically.
Fair.
If you're a long crapper or a short crapper. So, for a better baseline, how much of it can you read over lunch?
Oh, you could smash this out in a lunch break easy.
All right.
This is probably a 20 to 30 minute read, depending on how in depth you're going. I will reread it. I didn't rate it super highly because it's just so all over the place, which isn't a bad thing. It's just all over the place. Kind of like the Joker's mind. That was the worst joke I've made in my life. Jacob, what else have you been doing?
I actually did a lot this week. But it was a lot of wrap-up stuff, so I'm going to slam two quickies into one here. The first is I finished the War of the Realms reading order per howtolovecomics.com or something like that. And I did this digitally because Marvel still hasn't printed more omnibuses, but our audience is tired of hearing me bitch about it, so it is good. The ending is solid and didn't change my mind about this event. Also, this is probably this is definitely the most in-depth I've gone into reading a whole event. Obviously, I've read some of the crises and things like that, but the size and scale and scope and whatever else, this is the most in-depth I've gone. So there were, it was a little overcomplicated. There were definitely some runs that were not very good, 4-issue runs. I can think of 2 that should have been left out. They didn't serve any purpose. It was just there to print more books to make more money and kind of sucked. That brought the event down. So trim the fat a little bit. You've got a solid event. That's my review of that. Also, I watched Mortal Kombat Scorpion's Revenge.
Ooh.
Which made some waves shortly before the latest Mortal Kombat live-action movie came out. I would say it is 1/2 point below the latest Mortal Kombat movie.
Really?
They're very, very close. I can understand why when this came out, it was the best Mortal Kombat movie, but then the live-action one topped that, I think. So really, really good on whoever's making Mortal Kombat stuff for making 2 solid movies in a row after a lifetime of shitty movies. Congratulations. The story kind of ran out of steam at the end of the movie, and then they dared leave a cliffhanger. But still, solid movie, 4 out of 5 stars.
Nice. Nice. So, to wrap up this episode of the Dime Comic Bros podcast, next week we will be reviewing the original Howard the Duck movie from, what was that, like the late 80s or something?
What do you mean original? I think there's only one.
They're going to be making a new one, aren't they?
No.
I don't think so.
Oh, it sound like that. That's what he was just
Right.
insinuating.
That's why I'm like, what? They made another one?
Fucking wish.
I wish they made a sequel to that movie.
If all goes well, there will be an audio commentary to go along with it with all 3 of us. So, thanks for listening all the way through. If you have any thoughts on this particular Spider-Man Noir book or Spider-Man Noir in general, drop a comment, do the interaction stuff. Feel free to follow us on social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Send us an email if you have any suggestions, questions, concerns. You're an Indian prince and want to give us $10,000 if we give you iTunes gift cards. Email us at dimecomicbros@gmail.com.
I haven't gotten the iTunes gift cards one, but I've definitely gotten Dogecoin.
Yes.
And I followed through with it.
Oh, nice.
I'm still waiting for the check. It's coming in the mail.
I'm sure. So, a massive shout out to our 3 patrons. We do have a Patreon at patreon.com/dimecomicbros. So we have Business Casual, Jeff Lawrence, and Wesley Eaton. Thank you guys for keeping the lights on in the closet. We still only have the 1 light, but it is running strong.
It's one of those curly light bulbs, so it should last a really long time.
Yeah, so thanks for your continued support. You keep the lights on. If you want to become a patron, we do have lots of different tier rewards, including getting stickers as they come out, getting behind-the-scenes content, exclusive stuff that just kind of gets clipped out of the episodes because it makes no sense to leave it in, memes, all sorts of stuff. And a massive shout-out, as always, is due to our partners over at Jetpack Comics and Games from downtown Rochester, New Hampshire. Go buy your issues there, buy your trades there, get your omnibuses, get your D&D dice, all the stuff you can think of, you can probably find it over there. Say hi, tell them that we sent you. They probably know who we are, I think. You never know. Maybe they don't know who we are.
There's like one guy there who knows what I look like.
Kyle.
Might know my name, but doubt.
It's probably Kyle.
It's definitely Kyle.
Oh, yeah. Kyle knows everyone. Kyle is always watching. That's
Kyle
really it.
sees all. Kyle knows all.
I'm going to have a aneurysm.
He's gonna have a fit. He's gonna have a fit.
So yeah, I was rubbing the tip of my nose against the spit guard because it numbs the tip of your nose after a while. Sorry, it just accidentally touched your knee.
You should have groped it. Thank you. You're moist. Your hands are moist and warm.
You have very weird taste.
Yeah,
just
you just
flat
have
out.
weird taste,
Your taste is actually kind of hard to track.
How did we suddenly start talking about my taste in women?
Colin.
That is the end of the show.
That is correct.
You goofball.
Goofy boy.
Don't record this, okay?
It's being recorded, but I'm gonna clip it out. It's fine.
It's being recorded, so I'll be more careful.
It's still recording. Oh,
Screw you, Alexa Dot. Hey, Alexa. Throw yourself in the sink. Also, this is an outtake Spencer in editing. How would you like to have the last name Wenk? W-E-N-K.
I was trying not to laugh.
Oh my gosh.
Wink.